Hey, my name is Justin Huang, and I'll be presenting my experiences with the memoir Where's the Kabul, East of New York by Tamin Ansari. The word Afghan in the title was definitely what piqued my interest and got me to pick up this book and read it. I really did not know much about Afghanistan other than the fact that the country was somehow involved with 9/11, so I hope to learn more from the book. The memoir is organized into primarily four parts. The prologue, which is extremely important because it basically gives the readers everything they need to know, such as the theme and the lesson that Tommen will learn throughout the book. In the second part, it talks about his early life where he lived in Afghanistan and America because his father lost his government job, so they were forced to move. In the third part, Tommen goes back to his home country and visits other Islamic countries to learn about Muslims. And ending, Ansari finally realizes that the only way to be truly happy was by embracing both his Afghan side and his American side as one. From the start, the prologue had me hooked as it talked about how Ansari was forced to make a decision after the tragic events of 9/11. Ansari hesitated a lot to put his entire life experience in a single email and spread the truth because neither his American side nor his Afghan side would allow it. His American side was wanted him to attack Afghans while the Muslims, or not attack Muslims, but his Afghan side wanted to do the exact opposite. So he was basically torn between his two identities. However, in his email, eventually he writes his email, right? In his email, it states, quote, I speak as one who hates the Taliban and Osama bin Laden. But the Taliban and bin Laden are not Afghanistan, end quote. This quote clearly shows that Ansari embraced both his identities as one. This ends the prologue. So this prologue basically foreshadows into the end of the book by showing what his decision was, right? So basically, you basically know what happens by the end of the book, but you like I don't want to say provoke you, but like it interests you to read the rest of the book to figure out how he got to that point. So I really like this. I really like how Ansari foreshadowed this because it establishes his greatest obstacle throughout his life as well as the theme. He makes it clear that throughout his life he struggled with his identity and he did not know what or if he was American or Afghan. The first part of the memoir, Ansari explains his life in Afghanistan and how it went downhill when his father lost his government job. This forced him to move to the United States where Ansari fell in love with everything Afghanistan lacked. He wanted to leave his old self behind and live his new best life. However, not long after he settled, his temporary happiness disappeared. Ansari felt like he could not take being away from his home country anymore, so he booked flights and left for his Muslim countries, Islamic countries, his home country. But after he ran out of money, he immediately wanted to come back to America because he didn't want to live in those countries anymore. This evidently shows Ansari's identity crisis as he seems to leave behind his life and never achieves true happiness because he continues to switch between his American side and his Afghan side because he's trying to be someone that he's not. He's trying to be American, but he's not American. He's trying to be Afghan, but he's not. He's an Afghan American. So therefore, furthermore, towards the end of the book or the memoir, 9/11 happens, and a day after, Ansari is an extremely hard decision is forced upon him. He must choose a side. Basically, the way he sees it, he saw it was he must choose a side to defend his home country or the Americans, which he thinks he is as well. He finally thinks of a solution to all this chaos by saying that he's both, which is his true self. So therefore, he became truly happy because his email they sent to everyone, it got immense support from both Afghans and Americans. The way the author built up the theme and the lesson throughout the entire memoir made it extremely enjoyable. I was constantly on the edge of my seat wondering when Ansari would finally realize that being himself and his true self and African American, the two identities combined, was the only way he could finally find true happiness. The theme imposed by the author made the story very enjoyable because I related to it a lot, and I think many other readers would find it very relatable as well. I think I have most definitely found myself in identity crises before too. I've faked personalities just to fit in with groups of people, but I never felt like I belonged. I finally realized that being myself was the only way to make real friends. I would highly recommend this book to anyone who likes to learn new things, especially about Muslims or about how their first priority is to help others before themselves, right? That's one of the main things I learned about Islam, and I definitely did not know that before. In addition, I people in America, some of them probably think that Muslims equals terrorists, but that is completely absurd to think. Most Muslim people are normal people like anyone else. In addition, this novel teaches a great life lesson that I think everyone should know or learn about because it could help them in their future lives. The only con that I think the story has is that during the first part where Tommen is explaining his early life in Afghanistan and America, I feel like it was a little bit slow. It could be like so people who like action-packed novels they might not like this as much, but I think people could um, utilize the lesson that it teaches, and it'll be worth. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.